Namaste. So you've been on the spiritual path now for some time. You've read a bunch of books. You've watched a bunch of videos. Maybe you've done a bunch of meditations or studied some scripture or done some devotional activities. And here you are years later, and you're still not enlightened. Why? We know why. We know why. We know exactly how to become enlightened. And we have known from our own personal experience that you can reach enlightenment, turiya, instantly. So why doesn't it happen? Why aren't our viewers here on the channel becoming enlightened and reporting enlightenment experiences far more often than they do? Well, there's a very simple explanation, but you won't believe it. See, all of us have been through school, right? Or you wouldn't have enough money to have a computer or a smartphone or whatever you're watching this video on. You wouldn't be able to understand even a fraction of what we're saying here. Enlightenment wouldn't be on your plate. It wouldn't even be an option for you. So you have some education. The problem is that education is all wrong. Try to understand. Schooling is designed to make you unable to learn anything unless it's presented by an authority. In other words, you can't learn independently. And you can't do anything independently. This is the result of school training. I've always wondered, why do people go to yoga classes? Why do people go to meditation classes? Why do they practice in a group when everybody is so unique and so individual that their needs are, often completely different from others? Why do they still practice in a herd? And it's because we've been trained from the very start. What's the first thing you do when you go to school? You go into a class. It's even called a classroom. Your home room, right? And you're in a class, 8th grade, 9th grade, whatever. And the upperclassmen can bully the lowerclassmen without anything really happening to them, no discipline or anything. The administrators bully the teachers bully the students, the older students bully the younger students, and nobody learns anything except what's on the state-determined, state-mandated curriculum. And what is that? You go in a class. You sit at a desk. You listen to what the teacher says. You read in the state-approved textbooks what you're supposed to know, and then you feed it back on tests. And if you do that well, you get a high grade, and that leads to a good job. You can be trusted to be an idiot, to be a slave, to follow orders, to not have any individual will or spontaneous, independent action. Not to follow your own curiosity, but to follow what you're told to do. And we've all had at least 12 years of this nonsense. And this is why we cannot learn spiritual life. We cannot practice spiritual life. We cannot reach enlightenment. Only some few very rare people who manage to break free from that conditioning are able to reach it. Why? Because enlightenment is something you have to do independently, individually, not in a class, not in a group, not by somebody else's orders, but by your own initiative, by your own will. You have to be able to study independently because nobody has the same needs, the same path. Everyone's individual and unique. So you have to be able to chart your own course, to navigate a vast sea of knowledge. It's not like the scriptures are hidden or kept secret like they used to be. Everything's out there. Everything's available. Everything's on the internet. You could download it. But you can't understand it. So you can't practice it. So you can't get the result. You have been trained not to be able to do what is required to reach enlightenment. That's why a long time ago, like 10 years ago, we did a series called Becoming Genius. And Becoming Genius is a distillation of the learning methods, the independent study and practice methods that create you being a genius and exercising the being of a genius in whatever field you choose. And of course, the best field is the field of enlightenment because that gives you the greatest benefit. But any field. And the reason that people cannot succeed in spiritual life is that they don't have these tools. So I made some series. I made several series on it. But guess what? Nobody watched it. Oh, a few people watched it here and there, and some got the benefit. But most of the people on the channel here missed it. And so then I went on to make like over 1,000 more videos, and nobody understood them. Nobody could actually do the meditations. Nobody could actually observe or cultivate the phenomena discussed in those videos. Why? Because they don't have the tools. They have been educated out of the ability to study independently. So, what we're doing with Noli is giving the secrets of immediate enlightenment. If you actually understand the Noli videos, they're real short. They're like 3 minutes to 5 minutes. I think there's 4 or 5 of them now. If you actually understood what was in those videos, you could reach enlightenment immediately. What's the problem? You can't understand. Oh, yeah, you hear it. You watch the video. You hear me wrap it down. 4 states of consciousness, blah, 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 blah. I've been talking about 4 states of consciousness for years. But people don't understand it. They don't know how to study it. They don't know how to do independent inquiry, ontological analysis, contemplation. So they don't get the realization. They don't get the metacognition. But if you actually understood how to learn independently, you could become enlightened in 5 minutes. I'm serious, man. So we started this site, Know.ly, Gnow.ly. Noli, comes from gnosis, the Greek word gnosis, and jnana, the Sanskrit word. That means the same thing. Spontaneous, immediate enlightenment. So to get this, you have to go through this course, which we've rebranded now, renamed it Matrix Learning. And I've been posting a few of the videos, some of the course videos on this channel. They're short little videos. But if you actually understand what I'm talking about in those videos, you can learn anything. Not just at a superficial level, but at a high professional level of competence, such that you spontaneously manifest the being of a person who can perform the actions of that learning at a professional level as your spontaneous self-expression. Without thinking, without consulting others, without looking anything up, without having to practice, because you are that thing. You change your being. Say you want to learn to be a musician. There's a way. It takes years. You have to practice. And you change your being to the being of a musician. Then somebody puts a sheet of music in front of you, you can just play it. Or maybe you don't even need music. Somebody just starts playing and you just join right in, no problem. See? That's a musician. That's a journeyman musician, a professional musician. So in the same way, someone who actually has the being of an enlightened person can read the instructions on how to attain enlightenment and get it just like that. That's what this course is all about, to give you that ability. So you're going to have to register for the course. There are a limited number of free beta test accounts available. You can go to the site and register to be a beta tester, but the thing about it is you have to give us feedback on the courses. You have to give us feedback on the courses, or you would lose your free privilege and have to pay for the course. Not for the spiritual courses, they're free. But the Matrix Learning course is the prerequisite for the spiritual courses, because you have all gone through school and been trained to be so sick of anything resembling education that you can no longer learn anything. Everything goes in one ear and out the other. So we know the solution to that. We know how to revive your curiosity, how to rekindle your individual, spontaneous desire to learn things, and to engage your initiative, to learn, to change your being, to become whatever it is that you want to be. This is Matrix Learning. Om Tat Sat. Om Shakti Om. Om Namah Shivaya.